Hello, and welcome to another episode of the SA Cricket Podcast. My name is Mpho and I've got Tim Lace here with me. We're South Africa's number one cricket podcast, or Southern Africa, if you want to add a Zimbabwean element to that, because Zimbabwe made the Super Sixes, Tim. And so it's really amazing for our brothers and sisters, and I see our Twitter mentions are getting a lot of Zimbabwean fans coming through. So welcome, come and all, one and all. We might even do a Zimbabwean domestic series wrap if it actually makes as well. But remember, we do talk South African cricket, and that's what we do. We're available on SA Cricket Pod on X. You can follow us there. You can also subscribe to the YouTube channel. That's South African Cricket Podcast, and to Apple Podcast and Spotify. You can find us at South African Cricket Podcast there. We don't do this for love of cricket alone. We also are looking for sponsorship opportunities and also to let the community support us a little bit in terms of moving forward. And it's done really well in terms of getting everybody to help us get this rebrand to the South African Cricket Podcast. And we appreciate any and every contribution at buymeacoffee.com/SA Cricket Pod. Also, the QR codes on the screens. If you're on YouTube, there's two. If you're on Twitter or anywhere else, there's one. Just click on that. It's buymeacoffee.com/SA Cricket Pod for our audio listeners on Apple Podcast and Spotify. But before we do anything, when we're talking Proteas Men at the T20 World Cup, we'll talk about the Pakistan Proteas Womens Series that ended 2-1 yesterday. And then we'll also be talking about the domestic 4-day final that's about to happen on tomorrow for 5 days. But Tim, how are you doing?
Hot and humid, but otherwise good, dude. Otherwise good.
Look, yeah, you guys are hot and humid. We are windy and wet this side. Sounds like our seasons have bypassed each other. It looks like Cape Town winter here, and it looks like Joburg summer on your side. So that's a very interesting one to say. But let's start off. What's happened this week? We're going to talk about Zimbabwe. Let's do a little bit of that. Tim, what did you make of Zimbabwe's qualification into the Super 8s? Their win against Australia, and they didn't need to do much. The game got a no result today because of the rain, and that gets them through. But they were helped by Sri Lanka beating Australia, and that gets them in. Obviously, the Super 8s is already seeded, so they take Australia's position in the Super 8s, which means it's India, Zimbabwe, South Africa, and the West Indies, who have 3 group winners and 1 runners-up, which irritates me a lot. But anyway, I loved it. I loved the whole idea of we're going to score 170 on a good pitch and we're going to hold on for dear life. 169 for 2. Everyone was like, it should be 190 all out. And I'm sitting there going, no, they know who they are. It feels, obviously, they've got veterans, we've got old players. Sikandar Raz is on the wrong side of 30. There's another Curran on the way who's coming to kind of take over from Brendan Taylor. What did you make of the Zimbabwean side? Because when I saw that 169 for 2, I was sat there going, Sikandar Raza could do something, because we watched him in the SA20.
Yeah, but we have to say with a huge, massive caveat that the majority of pitches that we've seen in this World Cup are not SA20 pitches. We have to say that it's actually been, in terms of teams, the teams that have had batters with better techniques and are not there just to hit the ball out the ground, that have fared better. That's actually what's ended up happening, which is why Zimbabwe's approach made a lot of sense. Yes, the halfway mark, I was thinking they have to be 30 short, yeah. They've got to be, 190. I don't particularly rate Australia, but I just thought they relied too much on Nagarava and Sikandar Raza with the ball. But they know what they are. Exactly what you said. They know what they are. They get 100% from each team member. They're all pitching, and they've got a lot of talent there. I saw a tweet the other day that said this is the best Zimbabwean team for years, and I sort of thought about it. And you know what? It probably is. It probably is. Sekunda Raza, Grava, Bennett, who else? Particularly those three in particular. They
You've got
shine out. They shine out a little bit more than the others. But the rest of them, they pull in, like Evans and company. They pull in. They do their bit. They perform well as a team. They don't rely on X factor players, so to speak, because they've won the game without a Raza special. That's a huge thing for them.
Yeah. No, Tim, it is a huge thing for them. And you've got players like Blessing Muzarabani, who I think is probably one of the only other players on this side who could make another team. All right. I think he's just really, really good as a cricketer and as a fast bowler. And the wickets that he took against Australia were a testament to that, right? And half the time with Zimbabwe, you always have a great player, a Brendan Taylor, a Mozarabani, and then after that, there's no one else. Whereas here, and thanks to the English system for kind of funneling some players through there, you've got Brian Bennett, who's plied his trade there and worked on coming back, and he looks like a very good player. Sekunda has worked on his own game in a Zimbabwean context, in at home there, and he is a legend that he is, and it works for T20 cricket. And what we loved about this win was that, as you said, it was a team effort, but their big stars came out in the absence of Sekunda. Brian Bennett did really well. But then the other thing, Tim, that we all speak about is, what's this thing? It's the fielding. I loved the fielding. I just thought they were, too often do we see associate nations struggle with fielding. And if you think about the runs they saved against Australia, those sixes that became fours, or those sixes that became ones, those fours that became ones, that for me, and the catches as well, were just great. And that for me is a team that, Justin Salmons, who was a fielding coach for the Proteas, has done a really good job with this team. And so really amazing stuff from the Zimbabwean side. And good luck for the Super 8s. They're going to play us. We're going to have an African derby. Hopefully they don't cause us problems. But
don't remind me about 99. Don't remind me about 99, please. I don't need to be reminded.
Well, the only good thing about 99 is that there's no Australia. So they've dealt with Australia for us. So that's the good thing. But yeah. Okay, we've done our Zimbabwe talk. Let's talk about the Proteas women a little bit more. Good series win, very strong series win. We got to see a lot of the squad. There was a blip yesterday, and I'll call it a blip because T20 can, often give you 100 all out type of game. And I think, but what we saw from Mandla's team from the first two games is very strong performances with the ball, and very strong, most importantly with the ball, but also very strong performances with the bat, right? Sune Lease at the top with Tasman Brits. That opening axis seems to work, Tim, with moving Laura to the bottom, to number 3. And then obviously having Danae there as well, Marazan to come in. Yes, Marazan was injured in the last game. And then obviously Annery Dirksen, Kayla Reyneke, who is the standout star here, and Nadine de Klerk, who kind of gave us a bit of a cameo yesterday, even though it didn't work. But you kind of feel like we're at a point where if we can get the bowling right, and I think the way I understood his bowling could actually help us in the UK. So I'm looking at this team going, we actually could make the finals again. With what we have and how we can grow. And largely because now we're winning games with the ball. We're winning games with the ball. And that was the key thing for me in this Pakistan series, was we can put them into tough situations and we can put them under pressure with the ball. And that's something that has never happened. And you can talk to me about that first game where we had them under pressure and then Fatima Sana kind of put us away and we kind of eased the pressure. And it happened again yesterday. We had them like 60 for 6, and again, they would manage to get to a decent score. That's the only thing that I'm worried about. But from taking wickets up front, taking wickets regularly, the threat that our bowlers have, that's there now. And it feels like Aya Bongakaka's found some sort of a lease of life. And I understand Hlubi is now a little bit more accurate. Masabata Class is now playing the role that she's supposed to play. Masabata should never be the wicket taker. She should be a support bowler for everyone else. Keeps the line in length and just keeps everything for everyone else to take wickets on the side. I'm really happy with this series. There's nothing much that I can talk of outside of Kayla coming in. Welcome, Kayla. And the only other question is, when are we going to see Karabo Miso, get a full run in the side? That's the only thing I'm going to ask.
Yeah, no, look, it ticks an awful lot of boxes, the series. It was very efficient without being top tier. Obviously, Laura again scored 60 runs more than anybody else, but you're right, the star of the series is undoubtedly Kayla with her performance in the second game. We spoke about it in the last podcast. She really shone really well and took her chance. I agree. I think Missa definitely does need a proper run now. We need to make a decision. She's now good enough to play. So play her. If you're not going to play her, then don't put her with the squad. Put somebody else at the squad that you think can benefit from being a fringe player. She's not a fringe player anymore, and she shouldn't be seen as a fringe player. That would be my only concern. But an efficient win.
My argument on Karabo is that if you're going to bat Sinalo at 7 or 8, Karabo can keep wicket and bat at 7 or 8, and you get better. You get better with production there, right? If you're going to ask her to bat higher up, then that's a different question. But if you're going to say that if that's where my wicketkeeper is going to be 7 or 8, and she's young enough, you can put her in there. She's 18, right? She's not even 19 yet, right? If you're going to put her there and let her grow, similar to Clinton de Cockerell, why can't we do that, right? She was really good behind the stumps yesterday, really, really good. And so that for me is the thing, right? And I understand having Sinala there as a senior player, as a support. She does a really great job from an intangible leadership perspective, right? And there is room to have her there as a reserve wicketkeeper. Let the kid thrive. Put her in there, let her play. But she has to earn a spot. That's my point. It's just that's the only thing. Like, I looked at that team and I'm sitting there going, Danae's firing on all cylinders. Sune is there. Tasman's there. Laura Wolfart's there. Your top 4 speaks for itself. And then you go Marazan at 5, and then it's Nadine Annery Dirksen. And then you've got Kayla Reyneke coming in through there with Chloe Tryon. You already have your 8 batters going to the World Cup, right? And you've got all-rounders, so you can even take a Kayla, right? And then from a bowling perspective, lefty's still really, really good. Marzan, injury-wise, yes, it's happening more frequent, but she's there, right? And then you've got Aya, who's bowling above 110 k's an hour, which is what you want in the women's game, right? 110, 112, and consistently above there. She put Pakistan under a lot of pressure. And then you've got experience in Masabata and Aya Bongakaka. That is something that we can work with, right? Obviously, the only other problem is the fringe players. Laura Goodall played a very wild swing yesterday, but she also looks very good, and she looks like a different player compared to the last time we saw her in South African cricket colours. So, yeah, it's looking good. They move on now into the one days, right? And so obviously the Faye Cliffs come back in, and that one is a longer project for Mandla as we prepare for the next World Cup in 4 years' time. And I'm hoping to probably see a lot more of the youngsters come through and play in there. But outside of that, obviously they've got 3 games that they're playing against Pakistan. They play. There's an SA emerging game that happens on Thursday. Then you've got the first ODI on Sunday in Kimberley. They play a day-night match in Centurion, and then they play the Black Day game, which is against gender-based violence. They'll be wearing a black and the purple trim kit in their fight against in gender-based violence. And so, yeah, please do go out and watch them. They are the second best team in the world, and they are showing it. They're playing really, really well, and it's a treat. Watching them in Benoni over the last couple of days has been really, really good. Really, really good. Anything else to say there for the Proteas Women, Tim?
No, just keep proving me wrong. That's all I'm saying.
Coach Mandla, you've done a really, really, really awesome job. Well done. I'm really impressed with that series, and we need more. Like the warm-ups, I think we need to we need to give ourselves, some good competition going into England at the end of the year. Okay, now let's move on to the Proteas men at the World Cup. We have a T20 World Cup going on. It's looking amazing. The only problem I have, Tim, is that none of the stuff that we do in the group stages counts for the Super Sixes, the Super Eights. You literally just need to make sure that you win your games and you get in. But it doesn't matter if you finish first or second, doesn't matter if you do anything, just like we spoke about in Zimbabwe, you just have a spot allocated to you. Somebody kicks you out of that spot, they take that spot from you, which irritates me a lot, but it's fine. This is where world cricket is right now. Very irritating. However, batting was our worry. They are there. Everyone's pitching in when they need to. That game against New Zealand was a lesson in just so much control. Aiden had so much control over the game as a captain and as a batter. It was unbelievable. The bowlers after the Afghanistan game, I think I just need to check this because it's the amount of extras they bowled was insane. Just going to go back and check it. I think they bowled one extra in that game.
It's correct. No, you're correct. It was one.
Insane.
Which was compared to the Afghan game was
one extra.
Chalk and cheese.
And it was a leg bar. And my question is, where's that been? I know we're not going to be perfect all the time. And I know every day is different. But whatever was said in that Afghanistan game, after that Afghanistan game, please continue. Because that's the type of game we want. Normally we'll go for about 5 to 10 extras, wides, no balls. And that is that's in this format at this level is the difference between winning and losing. But the thing I loved was Quinton doesn't come off right. It didn't look okay in that game. His timing was slightly off. Aiden was there, and Aiden was blowing the ball away. And then you had Marco coming up with the ball, Gahiso bowling really well, Corbin just stepping up, And for me, as you say, with the women's team and the Zimbabwean team, it's a team effort. We're not looking at our stars and being like, well, they're having a bad day, we're going to lose. If one man's down, another one comes up. And for me, that's more important. And New Zealand have always been a weird team for us in World Cups. And somehow we've beaten them all like they haven't beaten us in T20 World Cup, but we're very good at this. And so, yeah, I was really, really impressed with Aiden. Like Aiden looked like a different man while he was batting. He looked like he was possessed by something. More of that, please. That's all I'm asking for. More of that. Like that was the highest power play we've ever had, second highest power play we've ever had at a World Cup. That's the type of stuff that wins you games. And the great thing is that 2 of our Super 6 games are in the same stadium that we played New Zealand in. And the last Super 8 game is in the stadium that we're playing the UAE in. So just really impressed by this team, Tim. Like I'm sitting there going, this is what Shukri is. This is the coach Shukri is. Shukri in tournament conditions is unplayable. And we're seeing it.
No, absolutely. It was as near a perfect performance as you can get against New Zealand. So much so that normally pessimistic me, I wasn't at all worried. At the halfway mark, I said, New Zealand are 30 short here. On this wicket, where the ball comes out nicely, it's really nice T20 wicket for batters. They can hit through the line. There isn't that two-pace nature of some of the pitches in this World Cup. I knew that they were done at halfway mark. And I'm so glad that South Africa didn't go, you know what? It's only 170 odd. We don't need to go all guns blazing. They went, no, you know what? No. Let's go guns all blazing and let's shut it out. In the power play, came over, game, set and match is ours. That's what I want to see, particularly more often. I want to see that against India. I want to see that against the West Indies. Because I think in terms of it's gonna be a different challenge for us, particularly those two games. But hugely impressive, efficient victory. We did what we needed to do, and we got it done. You're right. New Zealand, in some way, shape, or form, are a kind of bogey team. Maybe not in T20s, but in white ball cricket. So there was that sort of niggle there. But it's good. Good to get over the line. Good to get the performance out of the way. And if you can, get it done relatively easily after the Afghanistan fixture, which was the complete opposite.
Yeah, it was the complete opposite to Afghanistan, and it was a really good one. And I don't want to get my hopes up, but they're up. There's nothing I can do. The way these guys are playing cricket, my hopes are there. It's obviously going to lead to heartbreak, but who cares? I'm so excited about this team. I think they they honestly can do it. And what better way to do it against this Indian side in India? I'm not worried about that India Super 8 game, Tim. I just want us to get through West Indies, get through Zimbabwe. That gets you a semi-final qualification. And for me, that's where we're going. If we don't make the semi-finals, not because we lost to India, but because we couldn't get it out of Zimbabwe and West Indies. And West Indies are playing good cricket right now. They're finding their groove, they're finding their form. But again, we just beat them a month ago. And it could also be a function of their group. They're playing Italy, they're playing Scotland, they're playing England. And England aren't great. England allowed 178 against Italy. So, from outside of the quality of the batting that England has, their bowling's not that great. So, one thing that I have is the quality of our bowling and what we can do. And that game against New Zealand should have been a warning shot to everyone in the tournament.
I hope so. I certainly hope so. I'm worried about India and the West Indies batting. I am. I know we can get over. I know we can beat them, but I know what their batting potential is. Their batting potential is enormous. Particularly the West Indies, they can chase anything. They might not be able to bowl teams up, but they can chase anything.
Yeah, we just need to back ourselves to score 10 more than the West Indies. That's essentially where we are right now, because that last game of the Wanderers was wild, and we might get something similar in India. Okay, so good luck to the Proteas. I think they have their Super 8 games. We're still waiting for the final games to conclude. We play the UAE tomorrow, Tim. Because you already know your fate, do you give guys like Gwena and Amit Nokia a chance and Jason Smith and let them run out, or do you just want to go with tried and tested and just blow the UAE out the water?
I would like. I don't want to be tempting fate here, and I don't want it to happen. But I have noticed that a lot of the other teams have had a lot of injuries and have had to make replacements during this World Cup. A lot of them. My inbox is full of updates of players being ruled out from Ireland to New Zealand to, you name it. So with that in mind, and even with that not in mind, I would like to think that he will play two of those players that you've mentioned. I know you don't need to have to play all three, but I would like to think that he's going to go, I don't need to pick the strongest 11 for this fixture. This is a very high intense competition, and tense moments are going to come later on in the competition. I don't need a 100% strength side against UAE, with all due respect to them. So I would like to think two of Jason Smith, Kwena or Andrak will play. Which two you choose is entirely up to Shukri.
Okay, sure. Okay, no, that makes a lot of sense in that. Hopefully he gives them a bit of a run because everyone is going down. Everywhere else, we're like the only team that hasn't had. But we've had our injuries up front. Like Tony wasn't there.
Yeah, read the beforehand. Yes. Yeah.
Yes, right. Tony Donovan. And the David Miller scare, which we were. But so The Proteas play India on Sunday in Ahmedabad at 3:30. Then the next game they play is on Thursday the following week against the West Indies in Ahmedabad. And then the final game of the Super 8 is against Zimbabwe on the 1st of March, the following Sunday, with the semi-finals the following week and the final. So effectively 5 crucial games for the Proteas to go. And yeah, good luck to them as they go through that. Okay, let's talk about the domestic game. We saw the end of the 4-day series, which we spoke to you guys in the last podcast. And the final 4-day series log saw the Lions with 124 points at the top, the Warriors in second, Dolphins in third, Boland in fourth, Northwest Dragons in fifth, Western Province in sixth, the Titans in seventh, and the Tuskers sitting last. That means the Lions and the Warriors play in a final at the Wanderers starting tomorrow, which is Wednesday. And Tim, the only question I'm going to ask, is it the same? Is it like Man City winning again? Are the Lions primed to win, or will the Warriors find a way to sneak one with an extra day of cricket?
And there's no doubt. It would be, for me, it would be 65-35 in Lions' favour. So there is no doubt the Warriors could absolutely win. They've been good throughout the tournament prior to the last 2 games. The last 2 games has basically meant they haven't had the home final, which they should have had. If we're honest, they should be having that home final because they were the team to chase for 2/3 of the competition. So they'll be disappointed by that. I hope would maybe think that will give them a extra impetus at the final. But Lions in the final at home, as far as I'm aware, no injuries. They know how to win these games. Beyond Fontaine is in form, beyond Mulder's in form, Connor Esterhazen's in banging touch. Even people like Super Ramses in touch. Lions are red hot at the moment. They're red hot. They are the team to beat. They are the definite favourites. But Warriors have got a chance, but they've got to win day one. If they don't win day one in some way, shape, or form, it's going to be very difficult, even with the extra day.
Look, I think where they are strong are the Warriors. Is their batting. Gretzky, De Villiers, who's come to his own this year, Jordan Hadman. If they can put the Lions under pressure, as you say, up front, if they bat first, it would help them manage the game afterwards. I think the inexperience of their bowling attack is something that is going to come through. But we mustn't forget that they've got Mutusami as a Protea, and they did lose thingy. Who was that guy? I'm now going blank. The number 1 leading wicket taker in franchise cricket.
Baya Swanepoel.
Yes. Tim, that's why you're here. It's like the Bayers Bowl this week.
Yeah.
And coming up against that Lions attack, that's essentially where it might come up for them, especially from a spin perspective, right? A lot of pressure will be put on Mutusami to kind of lead this team through because this pitch is taking spin, and we saw that at the Wanderers last week, and a lot of swing. So it's going to be very interesting to see how the Warriors navigate that. The Lions have come into form at the right time, as you say, and they may not have Proteas. Timber's on the other side of the world, commentator, right? And so it's going to be interesting to see. Like you would have wanted a Timber to play in this game, but he's on the other side of the world enjoying his, I'm assuming, semi-retirement. But yeah. So look, they're coming up against the juggernaut. The pressure on Gideon Peters is going to be immense. If he does not crank it up and take wickets, it's going to be very, very tough for this team against his Lions batting lineup. But yeah, look, it's going to be quite interesting to see how it goes. But yeah, we've got a 4-day final tomorrow. Has no bearing on promotion relegation. It's just who gets the trophy. The Warriors in their second final and hoping to win a second title of the year. Good luck to Robbie P. And then good luck to Russell Domingo and his team trying to get the first title of the season. And then we go to the CSA One Day Cup, which starts on the 27th, well, next week. So that's going to be quite a cool and interesting thing, because I think the One Day Cup is this one before the World Cup, the year before the World Cup. This is the one where you put yourself in the shop window and ask to be selected. So, yeah. And we might actually have some Proteas who come back from the World Cup playing some of those games, depending on obviously the rest protocol. But it's quite interesting to see how the teams are going. Now, let's just have a look at what the relegation and promotion standings look like. We did promise you that last week. That means that Warriors sit on 20 points. Boerland, who for years have been there at the bottom on 20 points, very safe. The Lions are also safe on 16 points. No one, if the Tuskers win, they can't bring the Lions into this thing. But the Dolphins are largely safe on 14 points, unless they come last and the Tuskers win. And Tuskers finish first, and then you might be seeing the Dolphins go home, go to Division 2, which is highly unlikely. But Western Province, Northwest, and the Titans, they need to secure some points, and they need to make sure that the Tuskers do not finish ahead of them, and they do not finish anywhere near the top. And yeah, so it's going to be a very, very interesting One Day Cup. There's a lot of stakes for those four teams, some unions that we know and we think can stay up, but it's been a tough season for the Titans, Tim, and just very sad for Northwest, because in all of these competitions, the Northwest halfway through these competitions were up at the top of the tables, and somehow or some way they lost it. We're talking last week that Northwest could make the final, and now look at where they are. So it's been a very, very tough week for them, and yeah, the One Day Cup's going to be quite important.
Yeah, just to put it, I mean, yes, there are other ramifications that could happen, but the most likely, if there is going to be somebody that isn't going to go down, that isn't the Tuskers, is the following. There are others, but this is the most likely. The Tuskers have to finish the One Day Cup fourth and the Titans last. That would guarantee that the Tuskers stay up and the Titans are relegated. That because even if that were to happen, and for example, Northwest would, so let's for example, Tuskers finish fourth and Northwest finish last, Northwest would not be relegated because they have got 6 points. Tuskers would have 5. So actually, in reality, you're asking the Tuskers to finish higher than fourth. And it is possible, but on the season we've seen so far, I don't see them finishing higher than fourth in the One Day Cup competition. But if they do, then other teams, and Province and Northwest, do come into picture if that happens.
Yeah, no. So the Tuskers need to finish higher than fourth, and the Titans could be going home. But somebody needs to finish last, and I think whoever finishes last here out of those four is going. Whoever finished the lowest out of those four is going. Because you get 0 points if you finish last, you get 1 if you finish 7th, you get 3 points if you finish 6th, and you get 5 points if you finish 5th. So yeah, it's going to be tough, but it's going to be interesting. There's a lot of stakes. Every game is going to matter. This is what we want, and one of the reasons why I don't want relegation for every 2 years. People must go down, people must come up. You can't. I understand financially doesn't make sense, but this is what we want. We do the whole season to get to this point, and this is the point. And I love that it's the One Day Cup, because effectively it's not a T20 where you can say it's lucky. It's not a 4-day series where you can say some teams are better than others, because time kind of exacerbates the gap between the rich and the poor. It's a One Day Cup. You can do anything there, and we saw that in Division 2 last year. The Inyati making the final from nowhere. And that is what we're looking to do. But anyway, Tim, good luck to the Lions. Good luck to the Warriors in the 4-day series game. You can catch it on CSA's YouTube channel from tomorrow onwards for the next 5 games. Now, for upcoming fixtures, let's have a look and see what we are getting in the next week or so. So now, obviously, we had the 30-20 on Monday when we went live. But yeah, so tomorrow South Africa play the UAE, the men's team, in Delhi at the T20 World Cup. Then on Wednesday as well, tomorrow the 4-day series final starts at the Wanderers, Lions versus the Warriors. It's if you're in Joburg and you've got time, it's free. You can go in after work, or even picking up the kids from school after school to go and watch this game. Saturday will be day 4, and it might be the winning day, so you can go in there and watch that game. And then on Sunday, the first Super 8 game for South Africa, they play India in Ahmedabad. And then on Sunday again, the Proteas Women take on Pakistan Women in the first ODI in Bloemfontein. And yeah, that's what you look for. That's what you need to look out for in the next week or so, up until Monday, up until we see you again. Tim, any final words, any words of encouragement for any of our teams out there?
Beat India at all costs. Just win that game. Win that game, then we can not relax, but we can relax a little bit more, because we've gone through too many heartbreaks and as supporters of the Proteas, and I'd like to coast this. I'd like to coast this to the final. I really would. I know it's T20 cricket and coasting don't go hand in hand, but it would be nice to coast our way to the World Cup final.
Yeah, that is what we want. But look, either way, if you don't beat Zimbabwe and you don't beat the West Indies, you deserve to go home. So, but yeah, good luck to the Proteas men and women, and good luck to the Lions. Bring this one home. Remind everyone who you are. That money does buy you happiness. Let them know. Money does buy you happiness. And from us here at the SA Cricket Pod, remember to follow us on X at SA Cricket Pod, to like and subscribe on YouTube at the South African Cricket Podcast. Also, follow us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Hi to our audio fans. Really love that community growing. And also you can support us by buying us some coffee at buymeacoffee.com/SA Cricket Pod. From myself and Tim, it's goodbye and esale kakahiso.